I'm just saying because of my personal, personal experience, like in the industry experience, I was working on Palo Alto and other various firewall as well. I was working on Cisco. I was working on I worked in the past in Checkpoint as well. Unfortunately, I didn't get, I didn't get any opportunity to work on FortiGate, but I know the concept, how it works. So there are many, there are many constraints where the firewalls been compared each other. And on all the, in like say, there will be 10 parameters where the firewalls are compared to each other. And out of 10 Palo Alto firewall stands out in 9 points. Currently trending firewalls, 9 points, which is like huge. So it's the first choice of any network security designer, and it's the first choice of the perimeter firewall. The reason is clear. Their documentation are, their knowledge base are, quite explanatory. If you go for any, any issue, just simply Google it. It will land you to their knowledge base, and over there you'll get, step-by-step procedure, and they keep on increasing it. So world-class firewall, I would say. And yes, this journey along with you guys will be going to be, fantastic, I would say. If you have like, if you guys like, it's a small batch, like limited number of people. The reason is clear that everyone is going to get their own pod, completely licensed firewall alongside with Panorama. When we start the Panorama, initially we are going to start with firewall, where we are going to cover EDU module 210 and 330. So 210 is basically for firewall essentials, and 330 is troubleshooting. After that, we are going for 220, which is managing firewall at scale. That means we are going to check on the Panorama side. So these 3 modules I'm going to cover officially. Let me share my screen again. So we're going to start with like, I just simply open the education service Palo Alto site, and let's see that what Palo Alto is offering as a, as a training or credentialing. So if you go down like over here, and I just select in the filter for network security, because this is what we are targeting to, and we'll see that what it has been filtered out and what is come up with. So it is come up with the credentialization. Everyone is aware about Palo Alto network security engineer, where, so this is the credentialization. Like after learning, firewalls, troubleshooting, Panorama, or the management, configuration management, what you are going to earn, or how you are going to validate yourself in the market. So this is kind of like validation or credentialization of an engineer. So this Palo Alto been offered PCNSA exam, and this is the advanced level exam. That means you need to cover this introductory, this advanced module, this intermediate module, these 3 modules you need to cover, then only you can go for the exam. There is an intermediate exam before PCNSA, which is not a prerequisite for this exam. You can directly adopt this exam, so which is called PCNSA. Earlier, like when Palo Alto is just being the part of, the market, that time this exam was free. This exam is completely free, and it is called as Palo Alto ACE. So it is on their website, and people can simply, learn through their tutorials and get ACE certified. That is also holding some value in the market, that this guy at least went to their portal and have gone through the module by module videos and their books of whatsoever, and completed the quiz. Then only he will be ACE certified. Now they has, come up with cloud and all those stuff. They just, included it. So this is a mid-level exam, PCNSA, what we call. So someone is not, feeling like I should go for, intermediate exam before going for PCNSA, they can go for it. But I would say it's a waste of money, because PCNSA is not a prerequisite for PCNSA. And yes, the stuff I'm going to, tell you about the firewalls, what are the things we are going to cover, that is sufficient enough to go for this exam. That will be sufficient enough to go directly for this exam. So what are the things covered over here? Because I filtered out only for network security. So we can see the modules, what we have discussed. So EDU 210, which is like firewall essential. We will go one by one. What are the things there? So it's an introduction to the firewall, where it will be the lengthier one. And by Palo Alto, it has been delivered in 5 days, where the number of hours they mention is 8 hours a day. So that means total 40 hours. 40 hours, if we can divide 2 hours a day in our module, it will be 20 days. Okay. Then we go to your troubleshoot part, where it's advanced module and it's of 3 days. Again, 8, 3, 24. So again, it's a 24 hours class. And then we'll go for EDU 220, which is Panorama, managing firewall at scale, which is of 2 days. The good part over here that with all these, modules, after, discussing the concepts, small demonstrations in front of you, you guys are provided with their own pods with the limited number of hours, of course, per day. And after the class, you guys have their own time, because in a week, mostly we are going to have a 3 class per week. We'll decide the days as per the feasibility. And you have alternate days available where you can have your time to practice. And in the next class, we'll have like 15 or 20 minutes of the doubt session, where someone is not able to completed his task in the task list in the workbook. And we can discuss over there. I can take the pod, I can take the control and solve it there only, that what mistake you made or what are the things you have missed on. Anyways, the lab guide, what has been offered, it's crystal clear, and it is aligned with the lab which has been provided to you guys. So you can go step by step and cover all the practical part. Once you have done with the practical part, once I have done with the module by module, topic by topic, concept by concept, everything will be cleared. Then only we'll move to the second module. Once the troubleshooting and everything will be finished, we'll have a 2 to 3 days of gap before going to Panorama. The gap is required only for you guys to refresh yourself, because Panorama has nothing to relate with your firewall. Panorama has nothing related to your firewall. It's just a management. It's just a management box. That means if you have number of sites, let's say 2 or 3 firewalls, administrator can easily manage by logging individually on the firewall. Let's say if you have 100 of firewalls with, distributed along 8, 9, 10 data centers, each zone by zone, it is divided. So in that scenario, it will be very difficult for an administrator to manage the firewalls. So Palo Alto come up with a central management, which is called Panorama, where you can, integrate your firewall for the management part. Not only management, Panorama also serves as a central logging and reporting system. So when you're working to a enterprise level, over the CIO and CFOs are there, they keep on asking for the reports. If there are some daily attacks or some kind of vulnerability, you will see they're asking for the report. So with the Panorama, this will become quite handy. Like if you have 8 data centers and throughout centrally you want to generate the report, with each firewall generating report, then collating it and give it to the CIO or the CFO of the enterprise, it will be very, very difficult for someone to provide. So Panorama come up with a very good solution in that scenario. So we'll discuss about how we can, integrate the firewall, how we can generate the report from there. What are the other things Panorama serve on, like 100 of firewalls, some CV has been released, and Palo Alto says that if you have to immediately update these firewalls with this upgrade. And then you'll be like, how should I do? So you can trade off with the engineers, like maybe like 10 of engineers, you can divide the firewalls and they started upgrading, which is a waste of time. Panorama will immediately push the updates to all the integrated firewall. So it makes things easy for you inside of management and administration. That's why we are going to study Panorama as well. So this will be the total, and what are the other tools and what are the things will be handy during your working days in your office. or in your enterprise or network security, how you are going to manage the firewalls, that we are also going to discuss by use cases. We're going to you are going to see that what will be the use case if something like some logs showing unknown app ID, and this is not blocking. How can we see with the session browser that this kind of error is coming on the log? How can I tackle that? Troubleshoot that if the server is not accessible, firewall is allowing the traffic, but web server is not responding or sending a TCP reset or something like that. How we can tackle that? How can we see the packet captures? Those things we are going to discuss over here. So jumping on, the EDU first module of ours, which is like, yes, which is our EDU 210. It can be, you can guys simply browse and go to this website. You can download the data, data sheet if you want. So the course module will be as it is, what Palo Alto has been said. We are going to discuss each and every topic over here, whatever mentioned, alongside with decryption. So this is, these are the topics on which lab also available till 15, till point number 13, 14. 15 is like a discussion that in the certification journey, what's next for your training. And this is the supplemental part. So in the supplemental part, lab you need to perform on your own, like on your own. I'm going to discuss this thing as a configuration. And in the task lab, there is no such like a step-by-step process where you're going to perform. So step-by-step process is only available for these all topics. These are the supplemental parts. So you need to perform on your own, which we are going to do it together. So this is the supplemental material. Supplemental material, that means if the student is good enough to learn all these things on time and he has some more time, then he will go for this stuff. Mostly students cover this part. It's not a big deal. And I'm with you. We are going to cover this as well. So supplemental part is related to your global protect, high availability, site-to-site VPN connection, and some common attacks, blocking some common attack using zone protection. So in zone protection, we are going to generate some common attack with the available attack tool over there in the lab. And then from there, we'll see some log and how we are going to protect using the DOS protection or zone protection on the firewall. Moving on to the next module, which is your EDU 330. So in 330, basically this module has been completely dedicated to your troubleshooting step. How we are going to perform the troubleshoot, what are the tools available, how we can investigate the common network issues, analyzing the logs, or solving advanced or a scenario-based challenge. Like I said, we are going to take use case by use case based challenges and how we are going to troubleshoot it. We are going to see the flow map over there, and step by step, we are going to make the diagnostic when the traffic going to transit or some system service related, or maybe some kind of SSL decryption error, something related to user ID, maybe global protect. These things we are going to cover. Not only this, we are going to cover that if these are the things is under our control, because we are administrator, this is our daily job, right? But something which is not under control, because this is some hardware or software provided by some OEM or vendor. So in that scenario, we ended up, raising an RMA. RMA is something you're requesting for the replacement of the hardware, So what need to be done before raising the escalation of the RMA to the vendor? That part also we are going to discuss over here, so that while working, you are not facing any challenges, or maybe sometimes if you're going to go, face some interview, people are asking these questions just to justify your hands-on on the device, that this kind of situation happened, how you have handled the case. And let's say you are not able to handle, lastly, like you have checked every logs, everything is still, it is not functioning. Then you realize that something goes wrong with the box itself, and then you raise the RMA. So what are the steps you need to perform before raising the RMA? Because your firewall might have some private keys for SSL decryption and all those stuff. So you need to first recover those keys before sending the box out of your premise, because God forbid, and if those private keys get compromised, then your SSL connection might get compromised. So you need to take care of that part before, and then you have to wipe out your complete firewall, and then you can send that box to the vendor for the replacement. So these steps you need to take care of. After that, moving forward, let's see that how much time it has dedicated. So it has dedicated for 3 days. When we say 3 days, it of 8 hours a day, that means 24 hours. Then we go to EDU 220, which is Panorama. Panorama is a completely dedicated class, and it's mentioned clearly that the student must have completed the Firewall Essential Configuration Management EDU 210 class. Otherwise, he will be not be able to, because those things it is not going to be covered. So what things covered over here? It's just the initial configuration of Panorama, adding the firewalls in Panorama, then template creation, device group, log collection and forwarding, Panorama logs, Panorama administrative account, reporting, and troubleshooting using Panorama. So the dedicated time for this Panorama class will be only 2 days, which is again 16 hours of the class. So total, if I say, is like 64 for firewall, 64 hours for firewall and 16 hours for Panorama. So this is the overview of the class. The labs, what has been dedicated to you guys is directly from the partner site. There are a number of partner sites dedicated to Palo Alto. One of them is like Consignas. I have a very good experience with these guys. They have a very short and crisp topology. Everything will be aligned with with Palo Alto. You can directly, if you click from here, it will take you to the Palo Alto site. So beacon site there, it's locked because over here you'll get to see. So this is beacon Palo Alto network site. It needed some professional account login. Over there, the workbook and all been available. Don't worry about it. I have that workbook. Yes, it's some copyright issues, but we take care of that. So the reason being, if you see, if you go through the courses, it's been really, really very, very costly, because this training, what we are going to provide is like completely logged and provided only from the, academy partners. Consignas are academy partners, and they are charging very huge, but we are going for their, just for their topology environment. That's it. Because these are completely licensed and the pod can be, provided to you guys. That's why we are going over there. Otherwise, we have our environment, but yes, it is not aligned with these modules. That's why we are going over here. If you guys have any question, you can ask me now. Otherwise, I'll go for the further demonstration about the topic and how we are going to move forward from here.
I have a question.
Tell me.
Yeah, can we cover the migration part also?
What?
Can we cover the migration means if in our infrastructure, network infrastructure from kind of old firewall?
I'll tell you the steps, how it need to be done. Yes, it's not the part of the module over here, but don't worry. I said that these are the things which has been provided as an education for next generation firewall module. That is the official training from Palo Alto. I will cover that. After that, if time permits, I will cover additional topic. I will discuss separately about that.
Okay.
Whatever required to make, you guys a proper Palo Alto engineer, that can be covered.
Okay. Okay.
Migration, see, migration for Palo Alto is not at all a big deal. They have a dedicated software for that. You just need to install that software in a VM environment and just put that VM environment in the same management, in the same management VLAN where your firewall is there, and just add your firewalls. Once your firewall, let's say you are moving from ASA to, let me draw. just because you have asked this question, I was, been curious to answer it. So let's say you have a switch over here, and let's say this is core switch, and there is a management VLAN where all your legacy firewalls, legacy firewalls is already available in the same VLAN. Now you have been assigned a task that these legacy firewalls need to move to the Palo Alto, next generation firewall. What need to be done over here, that in the same management VLAN, let's say you place your Palo Alto firewalls. Let's say it has been divided into 2 Palo Alto firewalls, and in the same management VLAN, I'll keep my migration tool VM. It has been provided by Palo Alto only. So over here, you have template for your legacy firewall. Let's say I'm taking example of Cisco ASA. So these are the templates already available. You can add these firewalls. So it has been visible over here. And then after grouping it, you can select Palo Alto template and move this configuration Palo Alto template. This template, what it will translate all the configuration over here in terms of Palo Alto, generate an XML file. And from here only, if your Palo Alto is also added over here, you can push all the configuration in this Palo Altos. Not only this, while migration, this tool is so good that it will also find, it will also optimize the policy for one time for you. How? It is also finding your duplicate objects. Like if you have, an object of 10.1.2. Let's say 20 some host IP address with X20, let's say object, and the same has been X30. Same IP address is added. So it will find in the access list, it will find that this object has been overshadowing with this. If you want, I can keep it only one. Let's say this kind of objects, you have 2000 objects in a policy. So you just need to select file migration that deduplicate all the duplicated objects. So it will remove all the duplicated objects, and it will also show that that now the policy has been replaced with this object because this is duplicated. So it will also provide you one time, optimization part. Now, if you guys have, completed, or we are able to complete everything on time, I'm going to discuss this migration part as well. Don't worry.
Okay,
but yes,
thank you.
If someone asks me question that, Praveen, is it the part of, official Palo Alto this firewall delivery? No, this is not the part. You can see that.
Okay. Thank you.
Whether that migration tool is free or
yeah, it's completely free. It's completely free. See, it's a sales point. Guys, try to understand. If they are not giving it free, then why you are going, how and why you are going to migrate? It will be a hectic job, right?
Yeah.
Because firewall, firewall which are running in legacy, maybe it is running from last 10 years. 10 years of policies, configuration. If someone is going to turn it manually, it will be huge. It will be very, very difficult. And they are supporting this migration tool is supporting not only legacy firewall, they are supporting next generation firewall as well. That means if someone trying to move from FortiGate, someone trying to move from FTD, they can move. It can easily translate the configuration available over there to Palo Alto. It will convert. So let's say you just convert and you don't want to push. So you can download the XML file as a running configuration, and you can push by your own time. How can you push? The other way to push this policy, like if you have Panorama also, if you have
a central management.
So you can push, you can keep that running configuration, which is translated now in Palo Alto in Panorama. And after adding the firewalls in Panorama, you can sync those configuration to as per your group. Like if you have 100 of firewalls, Palo Alto, you can push accordingly. So yes, these things I can discuss, but my primary objective to deliver what's been mentioned by Palo Alto. Why I'm saying this? Because after, what is the expectation from this training? I'm just asking, any one of you can answer. What is the expectation from this training, you guys? Tell me. What your expectation after the course? What is your expectation?
Actually, my expectation is to do the certification and work on the this technology. So to support and then for the implementation. So
Right. So this thing will, you know, will the EDU 210, 330, 220, they have created in such a way that it will help you a lot, you know, to do this certification, to do the implementation as much as you want. And implementation of migration, these things are step-by-step process, one-time thing. So what I'm going to cover, it is like comes every now and then. Try to understand. Migration tool or using migration tool is a one-time step. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
You can get it anywhere in a steps, in a form of a step, proper documentation. You can just go to Palo Alto KB site. They will give you proper documentation. Just follow step by step and you can do it on your own. You don't need any Praveen for that. You don't need anyone. But the things as a concept, what I'm going to cover in this class, that is going to come every now and then. Every now and then.
yeah,
Right?
because knowledge is important, right?
Yeah. So conceptual part, we need to focus. That's what I'm saying. The lab or the workbook, you guys are going to perform on your own time. That is, I'm not going to, you know, do side by side with you. No, that is not our agenda. Our agenda to learn the concept in the class, and lab we will do on our own time as per the task provided. The task by Palo Alto has created task book for each, you know, each module, task book for each module. You are going to that task. So the task has been created in such a way that the solution is not given. So you need to, you know, use your own mind. You can maneuver. You can go through, you know, my class video that Praveen has discussed this thing, how he will go to dashboard, go to policy, go to interface. He has created this thing. Or you can take help from the solution also. So solution is also given down to that task. Anyways, once you perform this thing task by task, step by step, you'll gain confidence that, okay, I'm ready for. So let's say we'll start with firewall, configuring firewall, initial firewall setting, right? That means when the firewall deliver at your premise, right? Firewall deliver at your premise, what are the things need to be done? So first of all, you just rack it, right? Inside the rack, you find the rack rails. You can put the rack rails in the rack. You have already decided the rack unit space, that how much space it is needed. The fan is the fan direction of the firewall. If it is a hardware, the fan direction of the firewall in which side. Accordingly, you rack it. Then the passive work need to be done. It will be cabled. It will be bring up on the network.
the power supply, you know, the L1 and
exactly. So then you have to take, first of all, because it has no IP address. Initially, it has no IP address. So the difference between the VM-based firewall and the hardware firewall, the hardware management interface is already running with DHCP. So it will be configured as DHCP. The moment you plug in your network, and if there is any DHCP running, it will take the IP address from the DHCP pool and it will be up on your network. But basically it's a firewall. It's not a, so DHCP basically running in where? You guys are network engineer. Tell me, DHCP is running on an access layer, right? It is not going to run on the core or the perimeter, right? DHCP is always running on the access layer. We are not configuring any of our network device via DHCP, right? Because it's a dynamic IP. Anytime if the DHCP release something happen, our network will be down.
You need a static.
Yeah. So most of the time, like if there is no configuration or initial configuration constraint, we are using static IP address. So initially there will be no web UI you can access. So via CLI command, there is some command we are going to discuss in the initialization, that some command you need to run to give at least the management IP address. Once the management IP address is up, it will be reached to the gateway. After the gateway, from your management system, you can access your firewall. After accessing web UI, you can do everything from web UI. The same thing from the CLI also you can perform, but the web UI, going through this web UI of this firewall, because it's a next generation firewall, it will be a lot easier. It will be hierarchical. You can, you know that in order to configure the interface, what need to be done first. Like first you need to configure the zone. Then you have to go inside the virtual router, you need to configure the routing part. Then you'll go to the interface, then map these two components inside and then give the IP address. And then you need to allow on the management profile that from where this interface need to be accessible or not. So these things you need to perform for creating each and every interface. So this will be the part of the initialization we are going to discuss. The way I'm discussing right now, the same way we are going to discuss, but on a console. So let's say, so we have a topology over here, a very basic topology where there are 4 zones of the firewall. This is our firewall. I'm going to just simply telnet it. So when we just simply type source system info, it will tell me all the system related info. So this will be your management IP address. This will be your host name. This will be your net mask. And this is a VM model. This is its serial number. Which VM license it have? It has VM50. So there are various models we are going to discuss physical. So that will be your first topic. As per EDU 210, you will see we are going to discuss the portfolio and the architecture of the firewall, right? Where we are going to discuss about the various model, which model will be best suited or at which place, how the capacity planning of the firewall need to be done. Those things we are going to discuss with the help of some data sheets available on Palo Alto portal itself. So with this command, you can get all this information. Not only this, you will see all the licenses part in the same command. But let's say if you want to see the license part separately, so you can simply request license info. You can request license info and it will show you that these are the licenses available. So it has PanDB URL filtering, which is going to end on April 1st, 2023. And then we have Global Protect Portal and whatnot. So it has basically it's a evaluation license on this firewall, and it is going to be ended very soon, like 1st of April. It is initially issued on 2nd of November 2022, and it is going to be ended. So this license is not available for every person. It will be provided only by some Palo Alto SEs. I have good relation with them, so they have given such things for to evaluating their different features on the firewall. Because if I don't have the license, how can I evaluate those things? So this type of things I'm using for demonstrating in the training as well. So let me just access it, the web UI, and show you how it looks like. So 10.0.2.226. So this is your web UI. This is your dashboard where all the information, like this is general information. This is admin login, config. If config log, someone has changed the config, it will be showing. This will be log information, like if there are 2 administrators working on the same firewall on the same time. So one who log in first as administrator, the configuration will be logged. So other one will not be able to make the changes. And that is called commit log. And you can see from here that who has, if like 2 person will be, then it will be seen here. You can take the log with the help of, clicking in here on the log. So currently it is unlocked because there is only 1 person, but I can ask, select the admin and then click on take log to take the log from the other administrator. If that other administrator is not making some critical change, I can ask request and it will release the log for me. Or I can simply select the other admin and click on the remove log. But I don't have any, more 2 or more admins because there is no LDAP integration over here. I'll tell you about LDAP integration separately. So multiple administrator can log into the firewall, but only one administrator can make the changes at time. The reason is clear, that changes should not be conflicting, right? If 2 administrators making 2 different changes, they might make conflicting changes, and it might corrupt the policy database. So this kind of security features Palo Alto has taken on its firewall, which is not easily available on the legacy firewalls. Particularly if I talk of Cisco ASA or other legacy firewall, maybe if you guys are aware about. So I have worked only on one legacy firewall, which is Cisco ASA. So these kind of features are not available on legacy firewalls, like 2 administrator. If login, it will be logged with 1. It will be always available on the next generation firewall. Checkpoint, since I was working on Checkpoint since R75, before that also R70. So it was there. Then over here you will see so application command and control. This dashboard is application command control. So over here, any application usage or any kind of user activity or any kind of threat activity, any kind of block activity, it will be seen here. Okay, you can filter it out. You can see. So this is completely for reporting. Like I said, you can export it in a report also. Something is, because it is just just now I spin up this firewall, there is no information. But let's say if it is running from some time, you can export that report completely. You can click simply and it will export that report in a printed block activity, and you can share it in your office like this. It will open the report. So it will be quite good, right, to share this kind of information in your environment. To your seniors or CIOs, CFOs, whoever ask it. So then we'll go to this monitor tab. Over here, you can see multiple logs with the multiple users, because this firewall I used to, provide training or demonstration to the people. So these logs can tell you too many things. You just need to select any one of them, click, and it will give you detailed logs into information about it. Like if you see source users, which users are coming, which destination it is going, what are the port it will be using, what is the application, and if it is allow or not, which rule it is hitting to. So the rule which you have created, it is hitting to or not. And then it is showing some other information as well. Session end reason also, it will show that the session has been ended because it is aged out. So aged out connection, every connection has some limited time. If it is aged out before response, then the connection will not be available. Sometimes it is aged out because the connection is successful. Now it is not needed. Like this is for DNS communication. Once it get the IP to name resolution done, then connection is not at all needed. So it will be closed by session aged out. So firewall generated one session aged out flag and just close the session so that it will save some CPU on it. Over here, if you can see like some TCP connection on a MS OneDrive base, you can see some TCP fin flag. You can see some transaction as well on the. So too many information. Apart from that, if some extra information you want to add over here, you just simply click any of the column, and then you see that what are the other available information which is not checked. Just simply click the information whatever you want, and then it will be the part of the log. So like some device is coming, some destination device host, where some destination device MAC, or destination country. Let's say I add destination country, so it will show that immediately it will add a column. You see, immediately it will add that this IP belongs to this countries. That means firewall is having some geo database location as well. That means this IP belongs to this country. This IP, anyone know what is this IP? Anyone? It's open question. It's not big deal. What is this IP?
IP for I think searching Google.
No, this is Open DNS. This is Cisco umbrella.
Okay.
It is a DNS, yes.
Because like
yes.
Yeah, that's
So
why
you were somewhere right. It is something like Google, but it's not Google DNS. It's Cisco Umbrella DNS.
Okay.
It's open. Earlier it is called OpenDNS. Cisco acquired it and name it as Umbrella. Then this is something, some server in India, maybe this IP address we are using, the Korean Republic and whatnot. And whatever it is not able to resolve, it will just simply give the IP address because this is my local subnet. So it is not aware about, see, 192.168 class C IP addressing schema. So it will just simply put the same IP address over there. Whatever IP it is aware about, it is updating as per the GeoDB location. Similarly, if you need some more information on it, you can simply, click again and add the column. So quite good information in the traffic logs. So you see there are threat logs as well. There are some, because I generated some threat by using icar files. It is a test site where you can generate the threats to see if your policy is working or not. So it is working. It was dropping it on the icar.com. Then I went to URL filtering. So the URL filtering, there will be no log. Wildfire submission. Wildfire is basically sandbox solution. I tested it for some file and it is showing a proper log. So that has been covered for the test site. Once it's been submitted, you can download the submission report as well. It will provide you the report. If I click it over here, I think the report, yes, wildfire analysis report. So it will be report is generated that time when I, okay. So let me open some other work. So basically, wildfire is a sandbox solution. How many people aware about what is sandbox? Basically, what is sandbox? What the name looks like to you, like just normal general English?
So it's a cloud storage.
Box, you can relate it with, but it's not storage particularly. So sandbox, when we say sandbox, sand is used for heat isolation, right? Heat, we just, to put something, it not only heat, it will like isolate it from the temperature, normal, whatever. If it is cold, if it is hot, it will keep into that state only, right? If you put something inside the sand and cover it, so it will outside environment not going to affect that. So that terminology has been taken from there only because of the nature of the sand. But in our technology, what it is making role to you is basically it will provide you an isolated environment to test your malicious files. So let's say someone is going over the internet, right? And trying to down some freeware file, and that person is not aware that freeware is a malicious packet, some malicious part as well. And alongside, installing freeware, he is ended up installing installing that malicious content as well in his system. What will happen? Then it will create some CNC connection and might be you are a victim of some kind of ransomware, right? Your hard drive get encrypted or something like that. So
it's a same kind of process, our antivirus.
Antivirus is locally available on a system. Sandbox is something else. Let me complete and you will understand. So there is some kind of PE file I have generated while providing training in the last class, and the size of the file. So basically, my firewall, it's an unknown file, and my firewall is not able to recognize this type of file. So most of the wildfire signature decision has been taken here only on the firewall itself, because wildfire is a part of the license and it